Good day, everyone. Today we're going to talk about pheasant hunting with our pointing hunting dog. I enjoyed this type of class today because it's something that I enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis during that hunting season, the fall. Usually about September, I get pretty excited, start getting to buy your tags and you buy your licensing and get your guns ready, and you buy ammunition and stuff. Usually goes on sale, and so it's a pretty fun time of the year for me. But today we're going to talk about pheasant hunting and using your pointing dog as your way of retrieving and finding pheasants out in the field. So first off today, I'm going to talk about our goals for today's class, which is going to be to identify specific types of dogs that utilize the pointing technique. Also, along with talking about using them and what you need to do in order to achieve good results out in the field. Objectives we're going to talk about today is we're going to just touch and review hunter and gun safety. We're going to identify some pointing breeds as well. We're going to learn how that breed works, and then we're going to learn how to put it together all in the field, and then also working with your dog at the same time. So the first thing we'll talk about today is hunter safety. Sometimes those change between the states, so you got to remember which state I'm in. Make sure you check your local registration guy, your DNR services, and your state websites as well. But first, you talk about clothing for your hunting. When you go out hunting, you want to make sure you have long pants on. You can make sure you have good boots, gloves if the temperature is right. Also, make sure you got hat and safety gloves. A lot of times, you want to wear hunter safety orange is a bright orange that'll be able to be found in any Walmart, Shields, or anything like that. Safety glasses for sure. Sometimes shooting glasses, those will be appropriate as well. And then also your gun that you want to carry is most appropriately is a 20 gauge shotgun. It could be pump action or automatic, same with thing, and a 12 gauge style as well. Those are typically your most common ones for pheasant hunting, unless your state lets you shoot with a bigger caliber. You could always go lower, but really 12 and 20 gauge is your most common one that we see. In your handout that I gave to you guys for your review, it should have touched base with your pre-test that we handed out too, so you can check your answers on your pre-test, see where you knew, see what your knowledge was when I handed it out. So kind of some pointer breeds. I'm not going to go through all of them. It's kind of a job for you to do, but I am going to talk about my dog that I use, which is on page number 3, is the Weimaraner. I've always been around Weimaraners, but they're one of my favorite ones just because their personality is really good. They're very energetic out in the field. They're very smart. They listen really well, and their nose is incredible in my opinion. But each hunter's got his own likes and dislikes, but I really like the Weimaraner. Plus, out in the field, he's got really short hair, and that takes care of sticker burrs, anything like that sticking to his coat that you need to comb out or anything like that. They're very good endurance, so they don't get tired until later into the day. They're pretty reliable in that aspect. Their noses don't get tired either. They hunt pretty hard. They hunt really well, so their scent's always with them. You don't have to remind them. You don't have to show them any more rooster feathers or anything like that. They understand really well. So they're originally bred in Germany. They're originally used for large hunting, large game, but then kind of quickly turned into pheasant hunting, as that was kind of in my opinion, their forte is taking care of roosters and quail and small game like that. But yeah, that's my favorite dog. That's what I use. All of the other dogs are going to have the same characteristics. When it comes to bird hunting, but they work a little bit different, and they have different energy styles and stuff like that. But I lean more towards the Weimaraner in that aspect. But moving on, there's a list on your 4th page there about different kinds of breeds that you can look into. With the ones that I showed you, they're the ones that are probably the most common that I see here in the Midwest. So now moving on down to how the pointing dog breed works. Basically, from the very start, when you work and train your dog from the very beginning, when a young puppy is he's got to kind of get his senses honed in. He's got to dial them in, if you will. So you want to make sure you train them properly. You show them roosters, show them pheasant wings, give them scents you can buy at the store, give them something to look forward to. Work with his commands. A lot of the common commands that we're going to work with is going to be whoa, or hold up, or anything like that, so that way when they lock on, they're able to stay locked on, wait for you to engage them, and then moving forward. So a lot of the training is right when they're young puppy. You got to mold them, then you get them out in the field, and you can work really well. So when you get them out in the field, what they're going to do is they're going to hit it, and they're probably going to hit it hard and fast right away. They're going to get their noses to the ground. They're going to hunt right away. They're not going to wait for you, because that's what they want to do. They want to get out and play, and they want to bounce around and find the birds for you. So they're in tune right away. So you want to be just that way. Get yourself ready when you get to where you need to hunt. Have your gun ready. Have your gun loaded. Make sure everybody's safe in the area where you need to be. And when you open them out, let them out, they're going to go. So you get out there, find your path, pre-plan before you get out there where you want to go. Once you hit that field, depending on where you're at, if you're along river banks or creek or NRP grass or anything like that, noses to the ground, they're going to go. So you want to work on with keeping them a good distance. Make sure you can touch base with them. They're within hearing range of you. They're working the field. They're going to probably work a back and forth. That's the one thing you want to teach them from the very start. Is get them in the field, work back and forth in front of you, maintain a good range, and always keep your eye on them. You're going to keep your eye on a whole lot of other things, but once they hit that field, they're going to have their nose to the ground. They're going to know where to go. So you want to try to keep them so you can hunt certain areas. You don't want to let them go taking off in a certain direction way far away if that's where they're picking up. You want to keep them kind of, let's hunt this field, let's stay over here, and go from there. Once their nose is to the ground, you got to keep an eye on them because they'll lock up. That's what they'll stop. They'll lock up. Their noses will engage. They'll lean. They'll get that lean in. Their eyes are right on that bird, right where they need to be. They'll point. Some of them, Weimaraners especially, they'll raise up one paw or the other and lean forward. Tails stick straight up, and they'll lock on. You got to let them know, hey, by giving them that whoa command, they know that you've engaged them, that they're getting within eyesight of them, so they know where you're at. Have your guns up, guns ready. Don't point them down at the ground where the dog is or anything like that. Keep your gun just in the ready position. Excuse me. Then you want to, once you get there, you're ready position, and you're ready to engage that rooster that they got locked on. You give them the command to see whether it's get them up, go, call their name or anything like that. Whatever you want to work with your dog, give them that command. They'll go ahead and engage that rooster. Hopefully that rooster comes up. Some of them take off on the ground. If they take off on the ground, you got to let that dog know, I don't want you chasing him. Just hold up, because that dog will chase him until he gets him or loses him. And most of the time, they'll get him, but it'll be a mile down the road. So you want to make sure that rooster does get up, and then you're able to get clean shot up off the ground. Excuse me. Once he's up off the ground, he's got a clear range up of the field wherever that bird goes. Make sure your background's clear. You're not pointing in anybody's direction, anything like that. And you got to uphold your end of the bargain. They found you the bird. You got to knock that bird down. So you shoot the bird. They're always going to keep an eye on that bird while it's up in the air. They might go after a little bit. You also want to make sure that they don't jump. That's another bad habit sometimes those pointing breeds have. But you work with them real good from the very start. They won't jump it like that. So when that bird gets up, they won't jump after it. So once you get that, you get a clean shot. That bird goes down. They're going to engage that bird. They're going to go out and find that for you, which hopefully isn't too far. They get out there, their noses hit that bird, their eyes hit it, they're on it. You shouldn't have any issues with that. But always, again, depends on your topography, where you're hitting, or where you're hunting, excuse me. If you're down by creeks and stuff like that, you don't want your dog getting in the water. You don't want him getting in the cold water to try to get to where that bird is. You might have to call him off, but as long as that bird's down in a safe place and your dog's okay to go there, let your dog go. He'll pick that up, and then you'll probably go follow him, or if not, he'll bring it back to you. Then you got yourself a nice rooster, and the dogs, they won't chew it up. They know what they're doing. They're not going to get it and gnarl it or anything like that. None of the hunting dogs that I've come across, whether they're flushing or pointing or anything, they won't. Most of them don't tear up that bird or anything like that. So you won't have to worry about that. Um, but that's kind of the basically how that works. Once you get that bird, and you knock that down, they get that bird for you. You move on, give them praise, say good job, throw them a little treat. That's the end of the game for them. But they're gonna get back on it. They want another treat. They want to hit that bird. That's great time for them. And also a little tidbit: when you're out there in the field with them, you want to make sure that you got plenty of water. Carry a bottle of water with you. They're gonna want a snack. They do get winded. They got a lot of endurance, but think about it. Everybody gets thirsty. Clean water. You have a nice little treat for them too. Let them keep going. Basically stay safe and have fun with that whole aspect. When you're done, you want to make sure, depends on if they've got long hair, wired hair pointers, wired hair. Some Weimaraners have long hair too. Being able to check their ears, check the inside of the ears for ticks and stuff like that. If they got spurs, cackle burrs, or anything like that, that's what we call those pokey things on the field here in Nebraska. Anyway, I don't know what anyone else calls them in their area. But then moving, so yeah, that's where we're at on that. Just kind of review everything, and the whole aspect of this little adventure we're on today is from the very start, you find the dog that you like. You might take you a couple times, you work with one, you might talk to other hunters, talk with other, and find out what dog they've come across, do a lot of reading, do a lot of investigating, and find out which style you want. Plus, you got to get a dog that matches the right personality for you. Like I said, I've come across German short hairs are kind of similar to the same as Weimaraners as well. And then Vizslas. I'm also a big fan of Vizslas. They're very, very, very beautiful dogs, very smart dogs. All three of those dogs have a lot of energy. So they're going to want to, best thing is you get them on the field, and you might have to hunt all day just to help wear that energy out. And when you're not hunting, you're going to have to take them outside, let them run, because they're going to be kind of bouncy. They're high energy dogs. So if you find the right dog that you like, and you want to start from the very beginning, right when they're young pups, train them, figure out your commands, whoa, hold up, anything like that. When you get to gate, when they're on the bird, you want to find that command to engage that bird, and then go ahead and work with your dog. It's going to take some time, but they'll catch on pretty quick, okay? You just got to work with them like anything, like any situation. It's going to take a few times. They're gonna be kind of crazy at first on a couple of them. The other little tidbit is if you know you're going hunting with other dogs, make sure your dog works well with others. Sometimes my dog gets off key and he wants to play. He'll forget about hunting for a second or two, and then he's going to want to play with the other dogs. So make sure you work with your dog with that. Bring other dogs around. Get some hunters. Try to make sure introduce them before you get out in the field. That way, they're friends and stuff before. That way he knows, oh, there's so-and-so, I know him, I'm not going to worry about him, I'm going to worry about my hunting. So once you're out there in the field, you work with them, you're able to keep them in good control, work them, and then let them work that field for you. Let them take up as much ground, so that way, A, you don't have to work as hard, B, that's what they want to do. That's what they're bred to do, is out there and hunt and work. So let them do that, let them find the birds, let them lead you there, work together, let them lead, figure it out, you lead them. We're going to hit the right areas, because they'll go all over if you try to find it. So you got to kind of corral them a little bit. When they engage that bird, you give them the commands. You got to uphold your end of the bargain, knock that bird down, let them engage that bird again, get it, bring it back to you, and make sure you always uphold your proper gun safety. Make sure you're always wearing the proper clothing out there to make it benefit for you. Make sure you carry the right gear. Also, make sure you check your local and state regulations on hunting. Our area is pretty open. We just got to mind what the state says. As long as we got proper licensing and we're in the right land area, always check private areas, make sure you can hunt. If it's open and RIP, figure out the regulations. Like walking only, am I allowed to hunt pheasant here, or is this quail only? Anything like that. Make sure you do your research before you just grab your gun, take a dog, and go out in the field and try hunting. Okay, so make sure you're prepared. Make sure you know what's going on, and Go ahead. What we're going to do now is go ahead and engage in taking that post test. If you have any questions, let me know. Review your handout that I have for everybody. That'll have all the information in it, and we'll close up that handout, and then we'll go ahead and take the post test. But otherwise, that was good presentation. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can always stop by and ask me. I'm more than happy to talk about hunting any day, anytime. So thanks all for listening.